You're live.
Good evening. The time is 6:10. We're calling this meeting to order. If you're able to, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll? Here. Present. Let the record reflect that we are anticipating quorum tonight. A couple of our school board members are stuck in traffic, and as soon as they join us, they will count towards quorum. We're going to proceed with tonight's meeting as an information session until we achieve quorum, and we'll take up voting items at that point that we achieve quorum. So next on our agenda is the superintendent's comments.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. Good evening, President Rogel, members of the board, and the North End community. When I was selected as your superintendent of Providence schools were known for their decrepit facilities from bygone years. For generations, we've complained about the conditions of the facilities. The Providence Renaissance seems to stop at the doors of our neighborhood schools. But this evening, we're joined together in a fully renovated, like-new, the Narducci Learning Center. So big round of applause, please. The type of facility that our students, parents, and our community members deserve. The Narducci Learning Center, along with a brand new Spaziano Elementary School in the city's Silver Lake neighborhood, and the newly renovated Debate Elementary School in the Oneyville section, represent the new buildings, the PPSD, the buildings that our students deserve in PPSD. I would also like to mention that we are just getting started. Next fall, a fully renovated Pleasant View Elementary School will open, and work will be done in other buildings. Our plan is to have 100% of our students in 21st century state-of-the-art schools. I would also like to applaud PPSD students who are coming to school, increasing numbers. We have seen an 18% reduction in chronic absenteeism from this time last year. While this trend is stepping in the right direction, we will keep supporting our students to be in school on time every day. I would also like to acknowledge the 6,800 students who have been in school 95% of the time or better, and the 11,900 students who have attended the school also at 90% this year. These determined 18,700 students are writing the first chapter in their success stories. While we are on the topic of success, no Providence public school has been the backdrop for more success stories than Classical High School. Classical is still a school of excellence, with 83.8% of the students meeting or exceeding the SAT English test and high entrance to colleges rate. Classical students achieve in the classroom, in the athletic area, in the arts, and higher education. Countless classical alums have given back to the city and its school, including our own President Rogel. That being said, the classical star rating was lowered because of one target area for improvement: the performance of our multilingual learners. And we accept those challenges. Multilingual learners are the fastest growing segment of our student population. We have been and will continue to put the right supports in place to leverage the opportunities to have a diverse, multilingual city. I urge you to advocate for increased funding for multilingual learners who have account for over 40% of our population. That being said, I would also like to touch base on a violent incident that occurred at a basketball game between Mount Pleasant and the Narragansett High School this month. The incident was not caused, please understand, the incident was not caused by or nor did it involve any of our student athletes. 2 minors and 2 adults were arrested as the result of the incident. Police and Mount Pleasant staff were present and responded appropriately. I've also met with the Colonel Perez, and who is a proud graduate from Central High School and a member of the Providence Police Command staff. We both discussed the incident and reviewed the safety procedures moving forward. PPSD will continue to use police detail and implementing tickets pre-sales for basketball games. I've also asked building administrators to be present at the games. We must work together to ensure the safety of our students, staff, and family. We will continue to work together to ensure student safety. At this point, I would also like to take the opportunity to recognize 2 of our school board members. I want to say thank you to Karina Robert Santana and Dean Ebiemi for their years of services, your commitment and dedication to our students and our district. So big round of applause for them. Thank you. In closing, I have visited our schools, several of our schools in the past couple of weeks, and continue to be inspired by our students' excitement and our dedicated teachers. From elementary school students sharing their bug experiments at the elementary school and eating at a 5-star lunch at a school-run cafeteria by PCTA students. There are great things happening in Providence. So I will look forward to continue working and with your support in creating the environment that our students, our teachers, and our community deserve. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent. And Madam Clerk, can you please let the record reflect that Ms. Robertson Tina has joined us tonight and that we have achieved the quorum? Thank you. Next on the agenda is approval of the agenda. I'd actually like to make a motion. I'd like to take an item out of order and move towards the end of the agenda. I'd like to take item 4.1, PPSD Care Awards. Can I have a motion to move item 4.1 to after item 10.1? So after the tap update, do I have a motion? Motion. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Any opposed? The motion carries. So we will revisit that item. We're moving on to approval of the agenda as amended. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended? Do I have a second? I have a motion, second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? The motion carries. Madam Clerk, please let the record reflect that Mr. Matuk has also joined us. Next item, approval of minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Do I have a second? All in favor? Any opposed? The motion carries. Next item in the agenda is review of homeschool candidates. Do I have the representative from the district to come talk about this matter? Welcome, Mr. Catone.
Good evening. We just have one candidate to present to you this evening. They've met the requirements based on Rhode Island general law and based on our school ball policy for approval this evening.
Thank you. Any questions for the representative from the district, for Mr. Catone? Do I have a motion to approve the district's recommendation? Do I have a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is approved. Thank you, Mr. Catone. Next item on the agenda is public comment. On our sign-up sheet tonight, we have Ms. Pilar McLeod. Sure, I'll make an exception, or if you want to read it, Mr. Ray Watson can come up to the table there and relay the message. Thank you.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Good evening, all. I am so sorry that I am not able to attend in person due to health issues, but I did not want my voice to not be heard in this first meeting of the new year. Unfortunately, we are still dragging old issues into the new year. I am still waiting, as well as Raymond Watson and Diana Garlington, for a response from the board superintendent, the president, Erlen Rogel, as well as the board chair, Travis, in regards to a meeting that took place in October at the United Way. We were told if we had any questions or suggestions that we could email it to them. We did send an email while we were on the Zoom meeting, but got no response. I printed out the email and brought it to the next meeting in December, and we got no response. We are now in January. How are you going to say that you have you want to have a good relationship with the community when you don't respond to the community? We are giving you recommendations. We are coming to you to meetings. We are making our voices known. We are telling you what we want, yet you are ignoring us to our faces. Yet you want us to trust you with our most precious and valuable items, our children. Why? You don't care about the adults. That means you don't give a damn about the kids. We want answers, and we want them now. I told you back in October that I would be at every meeting. And as you can see, I will be here whether I am here in person or whether you only hear my voice. But I will show up every month if I have to and make public comment. And I will bring others who will do the same. The choice is yours. Either respond to the community or you will deal with the community. Thank you. Good evening, all. I am so
Thank you, Mr. Watson, for relaying this Ms. Todd's message. You can tell that we've received it and acknowledged it. Mr. Watson, you're next up on public comment. You have 3 minutes. You can begin when you're ready.
Very good. Once again, Happy New Year to everyone. I will say I am a bit confused why the first school board meeting of the new year would be moved from the regular location. I mean, I'm looking around the room. I don't see very many parents here or students here, which says to me a lot of them probably didn't get the notice that it was taking place over here. So I just don't understand the logic behind that or the motive. As you can hear from Ms. Pilar, you know, there's a lot of concerns about engagement with the community, and this really doesn't help the school board's reputation much. Beyond that, I saw the report about the school rankings and all of that sort of stuff, and I was just amazed to see that underneath the authority of the state takeover, Classical's ranking went down, which is just outrageous to me. So I'm saying, you know, what exactly is going on, and how long is this going to keep going on? At what point are you all going to be back in control? Because it's at this point, no way else to describe it but a failure, and people getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to keep failing our kids. I'll also reiterate Pilar's concerns about the lack of response. I think if anyone knows me and has seen me active in the community, they know I'm all about helping out and being committed. But we can't do that if there's no response to concerns that we raise. And we can't speak on your behalf to the community if we don't have any answers to the questions that are being raised. So I'm just asking, I mean, I hope that we're not going to start 2024 off on this foot. I think for me, I've been very cordial at the past 2 or 3 meetings that I've been at. I most certainly hope I don't have to go back to my old ways and start calling people out by name on social media. I'm trying to be cordial. I'm trying to represent. I'm trying to be a good advocate for our children. And I will remind everyone on the board once again that these are paid positions that you all have. So we're not just hoping that you listen and do the right thing. You are obligated to listen and do the right thing. Please listen and do the right thing. You have people here that are passionate, that want to be of assistance, that want to be advocates for you all in the work that you're doing. Allow us the space to do that, because as Pilar said, if we don't get that space, then we have to do the other thing. And I don't like doing the other thing, but I will do the other thing. And I will say as well that when community members are speaking, it's polite to look at them when they're speaking, not be typing on your thing. I know that if we were in a working environment and at a meeting and someone was speaking and you were typing, someone might have an issue with that. Everyone's being paid on this board, right? So professionalism, like I spoke to last month. Let's be professionals. When people are here taking their time to volunteer to speak, let's give them the attention that they deserve when they're speaking. Attorney, school board attorney, that's directed at you, sir. Thank you very much for your time this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. Anybody else here for public comment that did not get an opportunity to sign up? Anybody else? Going once, going twice. All right, we're moving on. Next item on the agenda is school board member comment. And I'd like to kick it off with the new year, new message, kind of lay out some priorities for the year. So first and foremost, I'd like to wish everyone a happy new year. I hope 2024 is off to a healthy and happy start for everyone. Just a quick update. So for anybody who's been paying attention, over December, there was a school board nominating process with 3 names forwarded to the city council for confirmation, and that process is undergoing now. We anticipate the full vote of the council on the nominations to occur this Thursday, with the swearing-in ceremony shortly thereafter. So at our next meeting, we should have 3 brand new names, 3 brand new members. And when they're not here now, but we'll take the opportunity then to welcome them. I also want to echo the superintendent's comments. Just reiterate my personal appreciation of school board member Robert Santana and school board member Dini Biemi. Very different trajectories on the school board. Mr. Dini Biemi is the longest serving school board member on this board, and is someone who's a steady hand, a wealth of wisdom, someone who has lived experience, and someone who has seen different iterations of administration, superintendents, and school board composition, and has always been a voice that I can rely on, a phone call or a text away for any question I may have. So I want to thank you for that, Chairman Ibiemi. I also want to thank Dr. Robert Santana. She served 1 year on the board. However, that 1 year of her being on the board was so productive. She is strategic, she is thoughtful, she is intentional, and she's deliberate. And just recently, during the second half of this year, she took over our policy committee. And in those short months, she churned out so many policies, cleaned up so much of the things that needed cleaning up. And I want to thank you, Ms. Robert Santana, for your service this past year on the school board. That goes to say a lot of work is left to be done, and we are excited to welcome 3 new members and pick up where we left off. I have a couple of personal updates to share with the public. So as many of you know, I am a member on the Senate Commission study PPSD Labor Management Relations. The work of that commission is so important. It's studying the subject of state statute changes and amendments to alleviate some of that friction and tension and adversarial relationship that we see happening at the district level between labor, the teachers union, and management at central office. There have been some robust conversations that have occurred. PPSD Representative Deputy Superintendent Scott has been there participating in those conversations. There should be a report coming out of that commission soon with some, I think with some great proposals and some bills that will be introduced. And it would be a priority of mine to spend my time advocating as strongly as possible for those proposals when they are publicized. I also want to give an update. As many of you also know, I'm a member of the Mayor's Working Group on local transition back to local control of the district. That group has, so is Sagan. That group has been working and has been meeting. We submitted public testimony signed by myself and Ms. Sagan, commenting on RIDE regulations regarding amendments to the Crowley Act statute that dictate the process of returning the district back to local control. In that letter, 2 points of emphasis were: 1, stick to realistic metrics on when that triggering event happens, or when we know we've gone far enough, so we can start having that process undergo. That process started of undergoing that transition back to local control, and also ensure that it's a robust community process with robust community input, and to ensure that that's an intentional effort. So those are 2 points of emphasis that we included in that letter. Couple of other updates. So we last year I commented on the fact that we are bringing on professional development support and resources for the board. As I commented before, our administrators, our educators undergo professional development. Our students are constantly measuring their growth every day. So it only makes sense and it's only appropriate that school board members also undergo professional development so we can learn how to best serve the public and the students of our city the best way we can, adhering to state statute and adhering to our roles as school board members. I'd also like to comment on accountability ratings that the superintendent touched upon were mentioned tonight at public comments. I just want to clarify a thing. So we saw a lot of headlines or a lot of noise being made about the classical 2-star rating. And I think some clarification on how that rating process happens is important. So I'll use an analogy. Pretend it's a report card. Pretend you're in history, English, math, and science. You get an A in every subject but science. In science, you get a D. Now imagine that your overall grade, your average grade for that quarter is the D. That's how the accountability system works, more or less. Classical, by every other measurable metric, is scoring 4 and 5 stars. However, how the accountability system works is that you're only ranked as high as your lowest performing metric. At classical, it so happens to be that it's multilingual language supports. And this is a new thing. This is a new category that classical is being measured for. Prior to this year, classical did not have enough MLL students enrolled to be even judged in that category. So the fact that classical is increasing its numbers of MLL students is a good thing. The fact that we're shedding a light on the fact that classical has room to grow when it comes to MLL student support is an important thing. So by every other metric, as a classical alum, I can confidently say that classical is still one of the premier teaching institutions in the country. Nothing has changed. The only thing that has changed is that now it's accepting more MLL students, and it's about to accept more because I hear that the process is underway to give the admission test in more than one language. Superintendent, I think it's like 9 or something, like 9 more languages. So that number of MLL students at classical will only continue to grow, which is a great thing for the fabric of that community. More diversity, more worldly experience, different cultures interacting together in that setting will be a great thing for learning. And then the last thing I have as an update is, so we have the next couple of meetings are important. Next meeting will probably be an organizational meeting where the board will be voting on its leadership. We'll be welcoming 3 new members. And then after that, we'll also have a retreat, we call it, but it's a public meeting where the public's welcome to come, where we'll be doing some workshops, some education, some school board member 101 presentations that will help get us off on the right foot. My last thing is ask of the school board, please work with James and Martha. We are trying to identify 2 days to do an introductory workshop / introductory meeting with the folks that are going to help us in our professional development. So I think either Martha or James, if someone has reached out, please be in communication with them about the best 2 days that work for you, so we can get that meeting scheduled. That's it for me. Any other school board member comments tonight? I think the school board wants to add, school board president wants to add one comment.
Just a quick reminder that students from the MLL students who are signing up for classical high school, students have to also take the same exam, the entry exams. So it's not just a gift.
Thank you. I just wanted to echo the chair's words of appreciation for my colleagues to the right, Mr. Ibiemi and Carolina Robert Santana. It's been an honor working with you guys, and thank you for the incredible impact, Carolina, that you've had on this board and on our school policies in a short amount of time. And Dean, it's going to be a shame to lose someone with your history and knowledge and experience on the board. And the rest of us will have to do our best to carry on good work in your absence. Further, I wanted just to assure Mr. Watson, I appreciate the perception that I was typing on my computer. I was typing on my computer, but I was taking notes about what you were saying, and I just wanted to let you know that I understand that you and Ms. McLeod feel unheard from your previous comments, and I think that's the most important thing to take away from what you were saying, is that you deserve to be heard and responded to. And I know that this board takes your commitment to have your voice heard here very seriously, and will continue to do so. And I guess the last thing I wanted to say is that the rating news around classical has gotten a lot of attention, and it should. But the school system is big and wide, and we need to meet the needs of all of the children, not just protect the reputation of the sort of beacon institution in the system. And I think all of us together really have to be committed, and in this new year, work together and pull the various stakeholders who seem to be pulling away from us together, so that we can do the best we can, whether we're in a takeover situation or not, to meet the needs of the children. And that includes the commissioner and the Office of RIDE and the governor's office and the mayor and the city council and everyone who's not here in this meeting today. And I think, that as a group, as a board, and as concerned members of the community, we should all expect people to come together and work towards a solution for the district and the children in a way that I think we haven't quite seen in the last year.
Thank you. I want to say thank you for this past year. I learned a lot as a parent. As you guys can see, I am a mom of a child with special needs. He's serenading us today. But I want to also say, when I started in February of last year, I felt a sentiment of this concept of like a takeover and all of these things. There's so much work that we can all do despite the takeover. And an example of that is, all the policies that we were able to modify. We have so many policies that are last reviewed in 2002. I was a recent graduate from high school back then. And I think it's important to, regardless, because the information that we get that's like out there is that we can't do anything. And in reality, we can advise. And whether that advice is taken or not, that's up to the higher ups. But we can take the policies and bring them into 2024. And I think that's the one thing that I struggled throughout this year was the many times that I heard were under state takeover. And that meant nothing to me because my child is still going to school despite the takeover. My kids are still impacted by the current education system. And so I have my youngest is a 5th grader, my oldest is an 8th grader. I have a lot more time with Providence schools unless if I leave the state. And so I am not planning on disappearing. I will try my best to continue contributing to Providence schools. I would have hoped to be here a little bit longer, but I'm going to start locally with my children's school and continue to, bring my expertise and my passion for equity in education. My biggest fear is that my child does not have the same opportunities that other children have. And that's why I'm always advocating and always fighting for them. And I try to bring that into our policy committee to make sure that we are really educated on not only how do we resolve some of these issues that we're addressing, but there are policies that address them. If they need to be updated, that's where we need to be pushing. We have power. As parents, we have power. They're in the policy. And I think they've been hidden. They're online. Nobody reads them. There's a lot of work to be done. And I think we can do it if we, dedicate the time to that. So whoever's listening, whoever's watching, if you can, join the policy committee or go, if you have an issue that you need addressed, check to see if there's a policy associated and bring those policies forward. We can as a community. Our policy review states clearly that the community can bring forth to the board a policy that needs review. And it's the responsibility of the board to bring that policy to the superintendent. And we can advise the superintendent on modifying policies. So we have more power than we think. A lot of people have spent the last 5 years saying we have no power. We do. It's in those policies and regulations. Not only what are they, but how can we make them better? And so again, I want to thank everyone on this school board. I learned from all of you a little bit. I am definitely taking a life lesson. And I appreciate all of you, and you have my number, so stay in touch.
Mr. President and the Superintendent and the members of the board and the public. I have a few words, and it's been 9 years of service. I went through a couple of superintendents. I have 6 superintendents that I work with. A few school board presidents, many school board members, fellow school board members, the district in terms of especially my folks at to the finance committee that we see every time, the public who always come and give their thoughts. They're not relenting in pursuing and in making us work and reminding us the responsibilities that we have here. I also went through a few scary lawsuits. Sometimes I get in the mail, you've been sued by a teacher of Providence School, and I'm like, who is suing me? So it has been some tremendous experience over these 9 years. I give it all to God, who has made me walk through that. And I thank my family. My last born is here. Went through public school in Providence. And, I thank the school board members, the superintendent. Thank you so much for the encouragement, for the support. Times without number, we have gone through a lot, and it has been a wonderful experience. On my parting note, I have a few comments. The first one goes to the fellow school board members, both existing and the incoming. It is important, and I say this time and time over, for us to work together, for us to collaborate together, for us to respect each other, for us to acknowledge each other, for us to honor each other. It is when we do that that we can certainly achieve. That is when we'll be able to move the needle forward. That is when we'll be able to command the respect. That's when we'll be able to say, this is what we want and we get it. So I urge the school board members to please look at this. Whether we're working for another year or for 3 years or continuous, it is important for us to work together. Without working together, without uniting ourselves, without collaborating, without respecting each other, we won't be able to do much. I am a person of faith, and I say, may God make it work for us. To the superintendent and the district officers, it is important for you to also work with the school board. You've been trying and you've been working, and I give it to the superintendent. When I came in today, I said, where's my coffee? Because I know every meeting I get a cup of coffee.
And that is part of the camaraderie that we share. That is part of the things that makes us, wanting to come and wanting to come together and exchange views. But it is important for the district to also work and listen to the board and look at how we can work together to be able to move this forward. We're a stakeholder. The first stakeholder are the students, but the students will not be able to do what they're doing without the support that is given to them by the district and the board. To the public, thank you. Every time the public keeps coming, the public comment, because they have something to offer. They want us to change. They want this to happen. And many times when I look at the public comments, I see that it looks like the public is giving us a big shoe or big wear, and they're expecting a lot from the board, whereas it's not the way we think. I've seen that, oh, you get paid for this, you get this for that. And that's good. We get paid $230 something a month. So this is a selfless service. That is what we're doing. And what we take our time, we take our effort to come here and we render these. So I think to the public, I encourage us to take it easy in pressing our demands and ensuring that we get it done. We have to respect each other at the same time. While we're looking at this, it's important for us to give ourselves that accommodation so that we can all achieve this together. To the mayor's office, I want to consider that they consider increasing the pay of the school board members. I was doing some research in terms of how much board members get paid in other districts, and we are just, nothing as compared to even Boston school district. They get paid a lot more. So this is for the service that the board members render. I think it's time to review the pay that the mayor office and to work with the board and the district. So on a final note, might be my last time, the 9th year of sitting here at the board as a board member, but I promise this is the beginning of my 10th year of continuous efforts towards ensuring community involvement and cooperation for achieving quality education for our children. Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure working with everyone. God bless you.
Thank you, Chairman, for those thoughtful words. Ms. Aiken.
Thank you, President. Just a quick comment. It's great to be here in the North End at the Naducci Learning Center, my hometown area. But also just want to give a heartfelt thank you again to the chairman and the chairwomen for all their work, their dedication and support. I've had the pleasure to be with both of those leaders in committees and have seen them in action. And I can assure you, they work very, very hard along with all the members here on the board. So just a quick heartfelt thank you, and glad that you'll be continuing to stay in touch and work with us collectively to ensure quality public education here in Providence. And also with the commission, with the president that I am on, we are working very hard as well with some initiatives. And we've also looked at other districts that have been in takeovers and how they worked and how they didn't work. And we've went out to a letter to ensure that does not happen here in Providence. So we are making some, initial movement with that, and we're continuing on. So thank you for coming this evening on this cold night. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Aiken. Gentlemen, Stevens, and then Mr. Naichi.
Board President, Superintendent, nice to see all of you, board, community members of the community.
I do want to start off really quick and speak to both Mr. Ibiemi and Ms. Robert Santana. I would say I caught myself going to the gym and I pulled my back a little bit. So you may see me sit back, but I'm talking to y'all. But I want to thank Mr. Ibiemi for his 9 years of service. I get into a lot of back and forth with people on the board, but he's one individual that I've never gotten into a back and forth with. I think, who was it? Him and Mark Santow and Nick Heeman. Never got into a back and forth with him, but I learned a lot. I know my first year on the school board, former board member Nina Pandey was the chair of finance. I served on that committee. And then once she left the committee, I know Mr. Ibiemi picked it up. Learned a lot from him. I'm learning a lot from Miss Aiken. Just how to vet contracts, ask questions about contracts, always be confident in what you believe in and stand with. So I do want to thank you, Mr. Ibiemi, for your hard work and your service to the city of Providence. This is the only thing you do. You do a lot of other things throughout the city of Providence, but I definitely want to thank you for that. Also, I want to thank Ms. Robert Santana. I actually learned a lot, even to the point of policy. She cleaned up the policies. I was looking through it. She was clear and concise on everything. She started to make me look at policies because it looked beautiful. And then there was a lot of things that was in the policies that needed to be updated, changed. I know our dear friend, the policy advisor, is working on a lot of that as well now, but you brought a lot of that to light. So that's definitely something we're going to be able to sort of grab and sort of go on with as a board. So we thank you for bringing that to light, and the power is in the policy. So you're absolutely right. So I want to thank the both of you. I want to welcome the 3 new board members. They're not here with us. It's going to be Mr. Michael Nina, Melissa Hughes, and also Ashley Newman. So we can't wait for them to be properly vetted and to come join us on the school board. I know all 3 of them, so I know they have different techniques and skills they'll bring to the board. So I think that this will definitely bring the board and move the board sort of in the right direction. I also want to just thank the district. There's a lot of great things going on with the building infrastructure. Looking at this building here, I went to the bathroom, I peeked in a couple of rooms, and I'm like, this is beautiful. So you're doing a lot of great work, superintendent and your team, Sal, everyone in on your team as well, doing a great job with the buildings. So definitely keep that up. Also, I want to thank the superintendent again, and also Mr. Zach Scott. I know, superintendent, I was talking to you as it pertained to the snow. He was definitely responsive. He was in a meeting with Rod, and he said, Tyrell, I'm gonna call you back. I said, okay, but he picked the phone up, so that's good. And then also there was at Nathan Bishop, the heat wasn't working, so I was able to contact Zach, and he was responsive as well with every little detail. So that's exactly what I'm talking about as it pertains to a partnership. I just want to say, Mr. President, can we please reach out to Ms. Pilar and Mr. Watson? I do not want the board, that being on the board's back, them coming at us. So it's best to respond to them so they're not coming down our backs. And whatever they request to definitely meet that need. And then lastly, I just wanted to let everyone know I'll be tiptoeing out early. I have an engagement around 7:30. So I just want to let all of you know, maybe we're done by then, maybe not, but I'll be tiptoeing out around 7:30. So yes, and I'm happy for the new year, new year. Happy New Year to everybody. Happy holidays to everybody. We're expecting great things, right, Ms. Pinto? Great things.
Oh, thank you. I want to thank every community members, the superintendents for coming on today. I also want to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Biamini and also Dr. Santana for your leadership on the school board. I'm very proud of your advocacy and leading a subcommittee on the health and awareness. So thank you so much. And I know one of the community members had a question on why we're holding our meeting in the schools. I don't know if you remember, back in September, we hold a meeting in the Health and Awareness Committee, and our committee decided it's going to be best for students and parents to hold these meetings in schools. And I agree. I think we need to do a better job promoting this meeting, especially working together with our communication department.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right, so let's, before you leave, Mr. Stevens, let's keep this moving going so we can. Well, I guess we have quorum without you now. Good.
Yes, we do.
All right, thank you, everyone. We're moving on to committee updates. Policy Committee, Chairwoman Robert Centeno.
Yep, so today we are going to be presenting 3 policies. One of the things that I did not mention is working with Andrea and the whole team has been amazing. I've learned a lot. And also just seeing how the PPSD teams have been willing to go through their policies to be able to bring them up to, 2024, ensuring that there's accountability by at the end of the policy, saying this policy will be reviewed every 3 to 5 years, because a lot of our policies did not have that. And so today we're going to be doing the first read of the parent involvement policy, the first read of the summer school policy, and the second read of the Providence School Board of Code of Conduct. So do we want, all right, so if you guys want to start with the parent involvement policy.
Can we do that during the discussion portion of the vote?
Okay, yeah. All right, so do you want me to do one by one?
No, I think we should just move on to Chairman Yami. We'll do committee updates, and then when we get to the.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
No, Mr. President, we had a meeting of the Finance Committee last week, and we have one contract that we went through, and we'll be presenting that, and the committee voted to move it to the regular school board for approval.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman Mahinga.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. So I just wanted to inform the board and also community members. So we, as I informed you guys before, so we had students from Central and the Classical, so they are planning to hold mental health fair in May. So we started this, we started a working group, more than 11 people. So we had a meeting last week with students. So we talked about what they wanted to see, community partner events, inviting the mayor, different organization around that promotes mental health. And also we're gonna have another meeting next week, and I'm gonna be sending this information to our committee members. And this January, we're gonna have a report by the smart clinics, and also we're gonna have another report by Sedexo when we hold our meeting this January. And also, I wanted to create a group, a working group to address because the state requires us to teach sex education in schools. So I wanted to create a working group on how we can work with the district to create a curriculum. So I put a pause on that after the board election, so we can have more members into our health and awareness committee. That's what I have.
Vice President Escobar isn't here, but Mr. Matuk, if you'd like to give us an update on CTE committee, and also it's not on here, but the school building committee work. Okay, well, I guess the meeting is upcoming, so we'll have an update after that. And just a note to the district team, so James and Martha, if you could add the school building committee to the committee update portion of the agenda next time, that'd be great. All right, so we're moving on to policy. So we're moving on to item 8.1, parent involvement policy, first read. Yeah, why don't we have representatives from the district come up and give us a few words on what this policy does. Welcome, Mr. Chardo.
Good evening, everyone. Oops. Good evening, board. Can you hear me? Can't hear myself. Yes? Okay. So basically tonight, we wanted to present the first read to the parent involvement policy. Want to thank you ahead of time for reviewing the policy. And you noticed most likely that it was reauthorized. The last time it was back in 2015, about 9 years ago. It was definitely time for review. In terms of the modifications to the policy, a lot of it had to do with adding the definition of Title I. That was something that was missing on page 1. And then just, in other sections of the policy, we needed to update certain language. We expanded on the shared responsibility for high student achievement, expanded, again, more information about the school parent involvement policy, but also the school parent compact. We just needed to go ahead and expand a little bit more of what Title I requires. And we also updated the social media section. There's a shared responsibility with parents. And one of the things that's obviously very current is that there is a crisis with social media and the use of it. So families do need a little bit more information in terms of just supporting their child at home with the usage. So the committee, we went through this policy and a lot of suggestions. Really appreciate the thoughtful conversation that we had about what should be a little bit more specific, but also the difference between the policy itself and the regulations that need to be updated. So there is regulations that are attached to this policy, but as soon as this is approved, reviewed and approved, then we'll go ahead and move towards reviewing and updating the regulations internally. And then also finally updating the legal reference on the policy. And I think that's basically, I'm not sure if there's any questions.
Are there any questions for Mr. Charo from the board? Any questions? Do I have a motion to approve? Motion. Do I have a second? Motion approved. We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. The policy is approved on the first read, or yes, it's voted through on the first read. Item 8.2, summer school policy, first read. Do we have someone from the district to speak on this item? Our policy advisor, Indra.
Hi, so this was one of those policies that had not been updated since like 2002, 2003. So the director of summer learning went through, made some modifications to the wording to represent our current offerings. And then we just added some clarity about students' right to be able to recover credit during summer. But it's just pretty much wording and aligning to our current practices from 2002.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Do I have a motion to approve item 8.2? Do I have a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Item 8.3, this is the second read and adoption of the Providence School Board Code of Conduct. Are there any questions on this item? Mr. Stevens?
All right, just a couple questions. First, I know I was sent the regulations. I want to know, how does the process, you might have told me, how does the process of the regulations go again? And once this is adopted, would the regulations then also be adopted?
The regulations don't have to go through this formal read process like this, but we have to have them ready for you 2 meetings after the official adaptation, but I already have them ready, so we can go over them next policy committee so you can get your input, but it doesn't need a formal process like this. Yes.
Any further questions? Do I have a motion to approve? Do I have a second? Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Next item, 9.1, Rise Engineering. Is there someone here to briefly speak, or chairman, can anyone briefly speak on this item? Chairman Ibiemi and then Mr. Kazari. Mr. Kazari, you go first. Just like a 1 sentence explain it. Yeah. Make it brief, Mr. Kazari. Just give us a sentence on what this is and what this does.
Sure. This is a self-funded program to upgrade lighting at 5 different schools. I presented it to the Finance Committee last week. It does include, off the top of my head, Roger Williams, Sackett Street, Mount Pleasant. And I can't remember off the top of my head, so I don't pull it out. But to keep it brief, the total value is $1.499 million of upgrades. None of it coming out of any of the PPSD funds. It will be coming out of RISE, Rhode Island Energy, and it will be coming out of the OER in the state of Rhode Island in a special program to supplement funding for city schools and improving the learning environment. So we're very excited about it. We're in phase 1, finishing that off now, and then we'll be going into phase 2 immediately once this award is complete. And then we'll be starting phase 3 approximately 12 months from now.
Sounds like a good deal, Mr. Xavier. All right, so this item is recommended for approval from Chairman Ibiemi. Do I have a motion to approve item 9.1? Do I have a second? Motion second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Next item, we have presentations. We have a TAP update. Again, we are required to have, and we also want to have these quarterly TAP updates as prescribed by state statute, and how we've been doing it. And we may tailor this. Is there are 4 pillars, and so we are focusing each quarter on one of the pillars. Tonight, Ms. Pinto and the Family and Community Engagement team is here to present on family and community engagement. So welcome to the FACE team, and you guys can begin when you're ready.
John, you might want to go on present mode for the full screen. Okay, that's working. Wow. Good evening, President Rogel, members of the school board, superintendent, community members, and my colleagues who are present this evening. I am going to be presenting a turnaround plan update for the second quarter of the Engaged Communities top pillar. This is everything that falls under the jurisdiction of the Family and Community Engagement Office. The first one I'm going to be presenting is going to be our initiatives on family engagement. Thank you. So, of course, family engagement, our goal is to cultivate partnership with students, parents, and site-based staff through workshops that drive instructional change. One of our initiatives is the Parent University. So for the fall cohort, we facilitated 11 workshops and engaged over 324 parents and guardians who engaged with us to learn about different topics such as understanding an IEP, multilingual learners process and identification, RICAS, which is the Rhode Island Comprehensive Assessment System, and other topics, mental health. So usually parents have the opportunity to fill out surveys as an exit criteria. And then this is kind of what drives the direction in which we're going in the topics that we are going to be targeting. We also launched the inaugural cohort of our Parent Leadership Academy. This was a very successful cohort. We graduated 23 leaders who also had the opportunity to visit school board. You can see the beautiful picture provided on the slide deck. In this workshop, in this academy, they learned, we were able to empower parents to become agents of change, understand the educational system, and support them in becoming active and involved citizens in their community. So this was very successful. We look forward to our spring cohort. We have already recruited and identified 30 members that will be joining us in the spring. We are engaging with, through our Parent Ambassador program. We have placed 29 parent ambassadors in different schools, and their role is to serve as liaisons between schools and families. They are there to strengthen the parent voice and decision-making process of the school. Our parent ambassadors oftentimes are also members of our Parent Advisory Council, so we engage with them monthly. We engage with over 44 PAC members, and they are there to advise and engage with leadership on topics of interest and that are beneficial to our students and families. We are also excited that our Student Advisory Council this year also welcomed elementary school students. So in the past,
student advisory was kind of reserved for secondary, middle, and high school. We now have also invited fifth graders. We have over 38 members, but on a given day, on a given meeting, we engage in person with over 20 of them, and they are able to bring back our discussions at the school level, acting as student leaders representing the schools and engaging with the district. Now I'm going to move on to community partnerships. Our community partnerships, we are also excited about our request for qualification process. This is a new process that allows us to efficiently identify and evaluate potential vendors and contractors. This was launched last fall. So we did it twice. We did it in the fall of 2022 and the spring of 23. Through this process, we were able to identify and approve 80 community partners. Currently, we are engaged with 35 community partners who are serving over 6,885 students in day support and before, during, and after school programming, not only throughout the school year, but also throughout the summer. So that's 6,800 students that are benefiting from additional supports. Next, I'm going on to our community engagement. So through community engagement, we are the McKinney Vento liaison at the FACE office for the district. So we are reporting that we were able to support over 300 students facing housing insecurity. These students receive supplemental supplies, services, transportation, and access to wraparound services, not only in PPSD, but also in the community. We also held our holiday drive, and this was specifically targeted for our McKinney Vento families. We were able to support 90 students providing holiday bags. These bags contain meal coupons, gift cards. We had donations of $25 gift cards for books, food, and just general Visa cards. We were also able to provide toys for every child, for every student under 12, through a donation as well, and personal hygiene items. So I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who made this possible. We look forward to continuing this next year as well. We launch and continue to host our community leaders gathering. This happens quarterly, and we have many community leaders, 20 to 30 at a given time, who engage with us. They support and champion all of our district-wide initiatives. Of course, right now, the focus, they're becoming the community ambassadors of supporting attendance, FAFSA, and survey works. Take the opportunity to invite everyone to become a Survey Works ambassador, please. The window opened yesterday, and it's going to be open from the 16th of January to the 31st of March. So it is really important that you please engage the community and our parents in completing Survey Works. Engage with nearly 400 district-approved volunteers as of the 31st of December, who are supporting our students and families and are actively engaged in our school buildings. We helped facilitate the school choice fair, and this year we had the inaugural high school expo. So this was a specific opportunity for families transitioning into high school. So we provided 2 opportunities for families and students to engage with our schools and learn about our programs. Our Let's Talk rapid response system, we are happy to report that we are able to respond to 92% of the inquiries that are initiated by our families and community within 24 hours. So 92% response rate within 24 hours. Last, we're going to be reporting on attendance, sort of reinforcing some of what was mentioned in the superintendent's comments. We are happy to report that we've seen a decrease in chronic absenteeism of 18.1% in comparison to last year in the same time period. We want to celebrate, of course, the goal is for us to support our students and not to miss more than 10% in a school year. Since last spring, we put in place an increased emphasis in creating a positive school culture, increasing a student's sense of belonging in school, and improving teacher-student relationships while promoting a holistic approach that engages community leaders and partners in providing additional support to reduce chronic absenteeism. So we're celebrating the 6,800 students that have had a 95% attendance rate or better, and the 11,900 students that have had a 90% attendance rate or better. So that's a lot to celebrate. We this year put in place an attendance guide. So this is a guide that offers a manual of policies and procedures that supports the different operating and standardizes the process like across the district. So it has been very helpful in identifying and putting in place supports for our students. And our Attendance Hero campaign that was launched at the beginning of the school year, educating our families and encouraging our students and families to sign the attendance pledge and track their attendance throughout the school year using our calendar and the different tools that were provided for them. We want to celebrate many of the schools that have seen improvement. I have three to mention. So DC Elementary School has seen a decrease in chronic absenteeism of over 25%. Pleasant View Elementary School as well, decrease in chronic absenteeism of over 25%. And Alvarez High School with a decrease of 22.2% in chronic absenteeism. As mentioned earlier, this is survey work time. So many of our top goals are measured through survey works. So I want to highlight that we are on track to meeting our 23-24 school year goal. So like I said, I want to invite everyone to becoming our Survey Works Parent Ambassador. This is an opportunity for our families to let us know how we are doing and also support in shifting the trajectory in the right direction. So for the first goal, which is increase the percentage of students who feel a sense of belonging in their school, last year we reached 57%, and our goal for this year was 56%. So we are already meeting, this goal is already being exceeded, as well as the last goal, which is the increase the percentage of Providence public school families who believe that they are welcome in their child's schools. Last year was reported at 81%, and this year, 23-24, the goal is 80%. So we are already leading and increasing our target for the current school year. And we want to make sure we continue to meet that. Okay. Also here, we want to report that 100% of our schools have actively functioning a school improvement team. As reported earlier, our goal is to increase the percentage of cases in which contact has been initiated within 24 hours through Let's Talk platform. Last year, we reached 95%. The goal this year is 97%, and we are currently at 94%, as reported earlier, and also increase the number of parents and caregivers engaged with the district's formal community engagement structure, such as PAC, volunteers, the different committees. Last year, we had 379 parents actively engaged with the district. The goal was 210, so we are clearly exceeding that goal. And as of December 31st, we had about 400 parents formally engaged with us. That brings me to the end of the presentation. Any questions?
I have a couple. So thank you for including the goals on the last couple of slides. That's helpful. And yeah, I know that the district has been making progress with the response rate and favorability metrics when it comes to families and educators. So that's a good thing. I think it would be helpful. So I'm looking at some of these other statistics in this presentation that you provided to have something to compare it to. I know that in each goal, there's probably like initiatives, and each initiative has like its own metric. So like one of the bullet points on slide 8 is respond within 24 hours to 92% of customer service inquiries through the district's rapid response system. Let's talk. I don't know if that's a good stat or not. I don't know if that's I don't know if that's growing. I don't know if that's declining. I don't know if that's stagnant. I don't know how that compares to the actual goal of that individual initiative. So I think it would be helpful for us, because like these are just snapshots in time and they're meaningless without context. I think that's good, but I'm not sure.
It is good.
So that's great.
So we'll
then.
make sure we add that kind of context in the future.
Absolutely. So for each initiative, so that's my first comment observation is to please provide that kind of context in the future. And then, are there any new initiatives coming up for this year? I guess for school year 24-25, are there any new initiatives that the FACE team is working on to achieve some of these goals?
So we are, like I said, we did the Parent Leadership Academy. That is a new initiative. We are also launching a partnership with the CCRI to support our parents in pursuing certification programs and different programs at CCRI. We are also talking about, there is a conversation a lot about a partnership. We actually received today information about a grant that's going to be a partnership with Fidelity Investments, and we're going to be supporting financial literacy for families. So those are just a couple, but there's a lot in the works.
That's great. And then my last question for you is, there's been a lot of discussion, I know, amongst the board members, among city and community leaders regarding, the fiscal cliff that the district is inevitably going to face. Is there do you anticipate any changes to the personnel of the FACE department or any of the school-based personnel that support the work you do in the upcoming school year because of, the expiration of the federal funds?
Thank you for acknowledging that concern. That is a valid concern. It is very, I think everybody's worried to a certain extent. At this point, I don't have any information as to whether or not that's going to be affecting the staff on my department or any of the departments that I collaborate with. So it is premature in that sense, but it is concerning.
Thank you. Please keep us abreast of that. Obviously, the work that you do, especially the attendance component of it, is critical work. So please keep the board updated on how we can be helpful, whether it's advocating at the state level, city level. Please keep us abreast. Are there any other questions from other school board members regarding this presentation? Ms. Aiken?
Thank you for this great presentation. And I am so pleased with the attendance records increasing. And in terms of launching the attendance guide, policy and procedure manual for PPSD, is that online?
Yes, it is.
Wonderful. And the Attendance Hero campaign, does that work in collaboration with that guide?
So
in
the
terms of tracking?
Yes, it does. So it's part of like our system of support. So we have identified different support like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So like the attendance contract, that kind of falls in like tier 1, which is like promoting and supporting attendance.
Thank you.
Mr. Stevens?
I just have two quick questions. What do you hear most from families on like why they're not engaged or why they're not engaged with like their school or things going on within the district?
I think from my experience and in the time I've been in this role and my experience in the district is the lack of understanding of how to become engaged. Like they don't know where to go. That's why that Parent Leadership Academy is very important, because now they are our parent leader ambassadors who are empowering. Like their task and their commitment when they graduated was that they were responsible for empowering 10 parents. That's their commitment. So they have to go into schools and make sure that they inform. So it's the lack of access. Oftentimes, of course, time. We see a huge success with the opportunity to engage virtually, like Parent University. The attendance of in-person versus virtual, it's very different. On an average day, we have seen participation of 80, Janet, and above. When we do it virtually, it's time.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that they understand, that they feel welcome, and that they know where to go in the different opportunities for them to become to be engaged. Everybody has a different skill set, but everybody has something to offer.
Absolutely. That makes sense. And like Ms. Aiken said, accessibility, so that's good. When's the next? Are you guys going to have, is the district going to have another academy, or are you currently having an academy?
So the Parent Leadership Academy, it was 5 Saturdays. So it was a huge commitment, 9 to 12 in person. Then we had 2 site visits, city council, school board, and a graduation. So a commitment of 8 times. The Spring Leadership Academy is going to start probably mid-February. And it's going to be, this time it's going to be 6 in person, because we have added a financial literacy component to the course. So 6 Saturdays in person plus 2 site visits plus a graduation. It does come with a stipend. So we have enough to recruit 30 families, but if funding becomes available, that's an invitation for us to help us fundraise. We will be happy to continue with the initiative.
Really quick, I know we have a couple parent engagement groups with the district. Can you just name some of them, and if we have added any on throughout the past year?
So the parent ambassador, so that's the goal is to have a parent ambassador representative at every school. Right now we have 29, like I said. So almost every school has a parent ambassador. The Parent Advisory Council that has 44 members, so that does have at times 2 representatives per school. The district-wide advisory council involves our community leaders, but many of them are also parents, or they have family in the district. Our volunteers, like I reported, we have over 400 volunteers. Many of them are parents. And then you have a PTO at the school level, so parents are engaged in those avenues as well.
2 more questions. One of them being, during the meetings that the parents have or the families have, do the district go through a update on sort of like board meetings that's getting ready to take place, different community meetings that may take place? Is there a portion within the agenda where it's just community updates, just to keep the parents updated, just in case they would like to attend?
Yeah, well, we always have a section of like what's coming up next, like save the date for this. These are the different events that are happening throughout the district. So we do that at every engagement opportunity.
All right, and with the students, really quick, how are the students? I know you mentioned that you're celebrating students that have 95% attendance or higher. What is the district doing as it pertains to celebrating the students?
So we, from the FACE office, we did receive a grant, and we gave each school received a packet of gift cards, Barnes & Noble gift cards and Visa gift cards based on their student demographics and population. We also received donations from Wendy's, from Burger King, from different community partners for like food vouchers. We have given that to the schools from the FACE office, but on top of that, I know individual schools have also like fundraise and secure grants from other venues, and they have also been able to do things internally.
I know with COVID, it brought a lot of the attendance down, a lot of different things that urban students have to sort of go through on the day-to-day basis, brought a lot of the attendance down. Is the district thinking about doing anything district-wide for students? Because it's a big milestone for students to have 95% attendance or higher. Has the district spoke about doing anything for those students that have 95% or higher, really celebrating them? And maybe if their classmates see that they're being celebrated, I think that definitely would interest them in attending school. So is the district thinking of anything?
We have received, like I said, donations and grants. There is a restaurant in Providence. I don't want to misquote, so I'm going to hold off on the name. They have offered to do a celebration for all of the students that reach a certain target. But like I said, there's a lot going on at each school level, but we as a district are thinking about that as well. And those incentives are important, but superficial at the same time, because we want to make sure that the motivation is intrinsic and that students feel a connection with the school, that they want to be there. That's really where we're working towards.
Absolutely. And when or if we ever have a celebration, will the board be welcome to come and celebrate with the students?
Por supuesto. Absolutely, yes.
All right. I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. Any other, Dr. Robertson, Tina?
One thing, I mentioned this last time. I would love, that slide specifically. I know I'm not going to be here in the future, but celebrating, right? We talked about this last time, and also acknowledging. I would love to see the top schools with the lowest attendance success, just to be able to say, these schools are still struggling, but our hope is that all these initiatives, boost those schools. And so that's something that, again, I love that we're celebrating the best, but I want also to hear which schools and which communities, is it something that, as a community we can impact better, or what can we do to support those schools so that, they move the needle towards making these improvements. And so again, I know it's scary to share the negatives, but I think it's very important because you are doing work that's going to improve that. But I want to hear, where are they and how can we do better?
Thank you. I'll be happy to share like a full report.
Yeah, thank you so much. I know 2 months ago when there was a graduation for the Parent Academy.
For the parent leaders, yes.
Yeah, that was nice. Is it possible for us to have the same thing for like students, especially the student leaders, to come to the board and, showcase them an achievement. Is that feasible?
Absolutely.
Okay. The other question is, what is the criteria for choosing membership of the Parent Academy? How diverse what are the criteria you use in choosing members?
So we put an application out, and it was application. They had to provide a resume and a letter of intent. We look at what they brought to the table. Unfortunately, we had a high demand. So we put our first application. We received over 100 applicants for 25 spots. So that tells you the level of interest. Like I said, it does come with a stipend. So we are very excited about opportunities to fundraise and secure grants to be able to continue to provide this to our families. So the interest is there.
Thank you.
What we tried to do is that when we made the selection process, of course, everybody who submitted a completed application, but then on top of that, making sure that it was diverse and that we had representatives for every school as close as possible.
Thank you. Mr. Stevens, final comment?
And then I'm going to leave. Really quick, Mr. President, if you are willing, young man, do you go to Providence schools? Go to Johnson and Wales. Did you go to Providence schools? If you're willing to, Mr. President, I just want you to just come up really quick, state your name for the record, and let us know what made you interested in going and attending school and what you think we should definitely do moving forward, if you're okay with that. Is that your son, Mr. Viviani? No? That's your son, all right. You went to classical, right? Oh, okay.
Welcome.
My name is Mr. Yemi, and what I want to say is what made me interested in school was when at first there was a point in time where there was school, but there wasn't really anything we were looking forward to. But when we started having programs that influenced my decisions, to want to go to college and to want to learn and educate myself even more, that made me want to go to school more and made me actually interested in going to school. We have programs where it's a podcast, or it's programs after school programs like basketball. I actually play basketball at Johnson & Wales right now. So that was one of the things that really made me want to go to school more. And I think that actually helped me in my college career as now, because I do have a 3.7 GPA, which is it's not the best, but it's effort.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens, and thank you for sharing your experience with us, Mr. Viviani. All right, Mr. Stevens, before we go, I do want to do the item that we had moved, which is item 4.1, the record. I'm sorry, Mr. Matuk.
So, hello. So this work is amazing, and clearly the district is making great progress on this pillar. So I compliment you on that. There is one metric which is kind of an outlier here, and that's going in the wrong direction, which is the goal of increasing the percentage of PPSD families with a favorable perception of the district. So I think it would help the board to understand, I know this is a difficult question to answer probably, but is there anything that you can tell the board about why perceptions of the district are degenerating while all of the other engagement metrics seem to be improving?
I can tell you what I believe, or what I feel might be hurting the question. So this is strictly coming out of SurveyWorks. As you know, when parents fill out SurveyWorks, it's about their school, and then most of the perception is probably driven about how they feel. There has been perhaps incidents, the fact that we are under state takeover, that might have sent a signal to families that we are a district that needs help, and we do need help, and we are working very hard to make sure that we provide them with everything they deserve. Safety, there is a lot of about transition when students change from one grade to the other. I feel there's a greater connection at the younger grades at the elementary school level. So trying to build those relationships, as I mentioned earlier, trying for the student part to find someone or something they can connect to at the school level, like the gentleman just shared, right? And like doing that for the families is a lot more difficult. Like this is why we're trying to offer all of these additional opportunities, not just for families to engage with us, but to learn about us. Not only to learn about what they can give to us, but what we have to offer. And I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, I know it's a really difficult question to answer for a lot of reasons. You know, it as a board member, you know, I might say, well, it's easy to blame the takeover, but yet all of these other engagement metrics are improving at the same time. So I just think it's important that we, you know, we obviously self-esteem, you know, of the families that are involved in the system, especially the kids who are in the system, is really critical to success and outcomes, right? So, you know, I think if we see something going in the wrong direction, it would be great to dig in and understand more about why that is specifically. It can help provide guidance to maybe there's parts of the other pillars of the TAP that are not working, that are influencing that, that the board could potentially push into and, you know, assist the district in reversing that.
And I think we have had a very high emphasis on also improving the customer service experience for anyone and everyone that engages with the district. We reported on our response rate, being able to provide a response within 24 hours so that families know that we are listening, we're being responsive. But every engagement opportunity at the district level, whether it's virtually, in person, via the phone, or through a platform like Let's Talk, that they have a positive customer service experience. So that's a huge focus for us this year as well.
Thank you. I mean, and I just want to emphasize most of everything that's going really well, the work of faith. So I think that's amazing. The last part was just a little troubling. I think we should all be paying attention. So thank you. Thank you. Any final comments, questions for Ms. Pinto? Hearing none. All right. So we're going to move on to item 4.1, which we had moved to the end of the agenda, which is the recognition of Mr. Ibiemi and Dr. Robert Santana for their service to the board. So I don't know if Suzanne or Jay can snap a picture of the superintendent, the school board members, and outgoing members for all time's sake. And then we're also going to present citations to both of them. So why don't we start with Ms. Robert Santana, Dr. Robert Santana. Feels like graduation. And let's just do Dr. Ibiemi. Let's snap a picture. We should actually take the picture, Suzanne, looking at the beautiful infrastructure and capital improvements. So that should be our background. The school board wishes Dr. Robert Santana, Mr. Ibiemi, the best in the next endeavor, and hope you stay engaged in the work of the school board and PPSD. Thank you for your service. Before we adjourn, I quickly want to thank the PPSD team for allowing us to have the meeting here and organizing it. So James Scott, Superintendent, Martha, Mr. Kazari and Sal, everyone involved in allowing us and mobilizing us to be able to have this meeting here tonight. Thank you so much. As
Mr. Mahingabo said, the effort here is to try to bring this dialogue into the communities, make it more accessible to families and parents who may not have access to transportation, to make it a walkable distance for them. So we'll continue this trend. I believe every other meeting we're going to try to do something like this to bring the dialogue to the community and also showcase the great work that's happening at the district, such as the work that happened here in Narducci. So thank you again to the PPSD team. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn? I have a motion. I feel like we should allow Mr. Bini Biemi the motion to adjourn. Motion from Mr. Biemi to adjourn one final time. Do I have a second? Second, Mr. Robertson? We have a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, yeah. There's two items.
Peter, unfortunately, I'd stay. Thank you so much. Thanks for all your work.
I'm just going to put a few things away. I'm just going to take
the computer. The kid left the computers and everything.
Oh, we're still streaming?
Yes.
You don't want to have a hot mic?